When we think about innovation, we usually picture something flashy, right? Some new piece of tech or a brilliant new strategy. But what if the real engine behind all of that is something, well, something a lot more human? In this explainer, we're going to dig into why the most groundbreaking ideas almost never start with a process, but always, always start with people. So let me ask you something straight up. When you think of a huge breakthrough, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a piece of software, some cool new gadget, or maybe a business model that just turns an entire industry on its head? Well, here's a little secret. While all those things are often the result of innovation, they are almost never the starting point. Nope, the real origin story is something else entirely. And that brings us to this killer quote from Warren Buffett. Trust is like the air we breathe. When it's present, nobody really notices. When it's absent, everybody notices. It's so true, right? The foundation is trust. It's this invisible force that when it's there, lets everything else just work. But the moment it's gone, the whole system can just fall apart. This isn't just a feel-good idea, it's a massive strategic advantage. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's peel back the layers and take a hard look at this human foundation, because that is where all the creativity and real progress in any organization truly comes from. And here's the absolute heart of the matter. Innovation is not some task you can just assign to someone. It's a behavior that just naturally grows out of the right environment. And guess who the chief architect of that environment is? The leader. It's all about creating the conditions where people feel like they can think differently, where they can question the way things are done, and yeah, even fail without being afraid. Now, there's actually a name for this kind of environment, made famous by Harvard's Amy Edmondson. It's called psychological safety. Basically, it's the belief that you won't get punished or humiliated for speaking up, whether it's with new ideas, questions, concerns, or even admitting you made a mistake. It's giving people permission to be human and to bring their whole selves to their work. Yeah, a great way to think about it is like this. Psychological safety is that shared feeling that your team is a safe place for taking risks with each other. You just know that if you stumble, someone's got your back. And that confidence, that is exactly what unlocks the willingness to try something new, something that might not work out, but could just lead to the next big breakthrough. Okay, so this all sounds great, right? But how does this feeling of trust actually turn into real tangible results? Let's take a look under the hood at how this engine really powers your team. And look, this isn't just some fluffy, nice-to-have idea. A huge study by PwC found that 55% of CEOs, that's more than half, see a lack of trust as a direct threat to their company's growth. So it's clearly moved way beyond being a soft skill and is now a core business issue. So here's how it actually works. Think of trust as the lubricant for 5 key things. First off, it gets information flowing freely. I mean, we share more with people we trust, right? Second, it makes collaboration way smoother because we can build on a coworker's efforts without having to double-check everything. Third, it actually frees up leaders because they can delegate with confidence. Fourth, it boosts our mental horsepower by getting rid of all that stress and suspicion that just drains our energy. And finally, it improves performance because of something called the Rosenthal effect. Basically, when we feel trusted, we tend to live up to those high expectations. It's powerful stuff. All right, so this is all well and good, but how do you do it? How do you actually build this stuff? Let's get practical and open up the leader's playbook for creating a high-trust team. Well, the first thing we've got to get our heads around is that leadership itself has completely changed. The old command and control style, the my way or the highway approach, it might have worked in stable, predictable times, but today, it's obsolete. In today's world, authority might get you compliance, but it will almost never get you innovation. The modern model is all about building trust to empower and totally unleash your team's potential. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, the research points to some really specific behaviors. It's being consultative, actually asking for people's opinions. It's being supportive, caring about your team as human beings. It's having character and commitment, doing what's right, not what's easy, and sticking by your team when things get tough. And maybe, just maybe, the most important one is consistency. See, trust isn't built in some big grand gesture. It's built in all the small, reliable things you do day in and day out. Okay, now this is huge. Just as important as knowing what to do is knowing what not to do. There are certain leadership moves that are absolute innovation killers because they just instantly shatter trust. And the sources we looked at highlight 2 behaviors in particular that are just
devastating. If you're doing either of these, you are actively shutting down your team's ability to innovate.
First up is second guessing. And let's be clear, this is not the same as asking good questions to understand something better. This is questioning someone's work in a way that just screams, I don't think you know what you're doing. It sends a crystal clear message. I don't trust your judgment or your skills. And that just shuts people down immediately. The second one is what innovator Bill Grieco calls deep diving. This is when a leader just jumps into the details to basically redo a team member's work instead of coaching them or collaborating. It's just micromanagement disguised as being helpful, and it absolutely screams a lack of confidence in your team. It crushes their creativity and their motivation to take any initiative. So what does this all boil down to? It really comes down to the leader's number one job: intentionally, purposefully, creating the right environment. Your behavior literally creates a specific zone for your team to operate in. And this table, wow, it really lays it all out, doesn't it? Amy Edmondson's work shows that when you have high challenge but low support, you create what's called the anxiety zone. People are stressed out, they're afraid to ask for help, and they hoard information. But when you keep that same high level of challenge but you add high support, you create the learning zone. And this is where the magic happens. This is where people feel safe enough to take risks, they feel energized to solve tough problems, and this is where innovation thrives. And the only difference between those two zones? The leader's supportive behavior. That's it. And really, this quote from Bill Grieco just wraps it all up perfectly. Quote, "The greatest innovations don't come from managing people, they come from unleashing them." Your job isn't to manage tasks. It's to unleash potential. The control you think you're giving up comes back to you 10 times over in creativity, in ownership, and in game-changing ideas. So I want to leave you with a question to really think about. Based on your daily actions, your words, your behaviors, what kind of environment are you actually creating? Is it a space where compliance is the name of the game? Or is it a space where trust unleashes real innovation? Because ultimately, that choice determines your team's future.